What's up, YouTube universe? I'm Dash, and welcome to How to Transit. Today, we'll be doing a tier list of the MBTA, and unlike any other of the How To series before, this one was actually recorded long ago, back in 2022. If you wasn't aware of the fact that I had another channel called The Dash Official, this will all be new to you. But if you was aware of that fact, shh, don't spoil it for the people that didn't know. Anyway, before we get into it, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to Dash Transit as we'll be posting more videos more often, and remember to ring that notification bell so that you're notified when we do.
So what is the MBTA? Well, MBTA, short for Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority, is the primary public transit system in the city of Boston, and of course the suburbs too. MBTA also provides rail service to the suburbs as well as Rhode Island. Now before we start ranking, you must know that all these rankings are based on my experiences only. So if you disagree with me, you might as well leave before I continue, because once we start, there is no going back. Starting off, we're going to lump all of MBTA's bus routes into one route. We're going to call this Bus Connections, because that's what all the announcements in their system say. The red line, the green line, the silver line. Some bus routes even just say Bus Connections instead of the individual bus routes, which in itself is frustrating. But anyway, the bus system itself is actually kind of straightforward. You have timetables available at most stations. Unlike New York City and Washington, D.C., if you don't already know the system, you can kind of figure it out. Most of the routes in the system are no longer than 35 minutes, with the exception of routes like the 28, which are subject to higher traffic conditions during the rush hour. Now, the fleet used to consist of like Neoplans, RTS buses, Nabby CNGs, New Flyer CNGs, the works. It was really diverse. But nowadays, the fleet is mostly New Flyer Excelsiors and many variants of that model. You also have some older New Flyer low floors that are still sticking around, but for the most part, the fleet is New Flyer Excelsiors. They also eliminated trolley bus service on the 71 and 73 in favor of more New Flyer Excelsiors. With that being said, because of purposely killing off the diversity, eliminating trolley buses in favor of more New Flyer Excelsiors, the electric variants, I gotta say, Bus Connections, I'm putting you in the F tier. As a fan, I absolutely hate when agencies kill off their diversities. I understand that it's better for cheaper parts and whatnot, but at the same time, it just makes everything seem monochromatic and boring. Everyone thinks that public transportation is already mundane and is stressful as part of their day, but you could at least try to spice it up by having everything feel different. Now that we got Bus Connections out the way, we can move on to the rapid transit lines. Since we just did buses, let's start with the Silver Line. Now for Silver Line, there's 5 different routes, all numbered 1 through 5 with the SL symbol for Silver Line. SL1 and SL3 go to the Logan Airport, but the SL1 goes to the airport terminals while the SL3 goes behind the airport and heads to Chelsea. The SL2 goes to the Design Center. Unlike the SL1 and SL3, the SL2 does not go on a highway and does not head to the airport. All 3 of these lines use these fancy Neoplan dual mode trackless trolleys that run on diesel power once they leave the tunnel at Silver Line Way Station. You got all that now? It's interesting. Now here's where it gets complex but also back to boring. There's 2 more Silver Line routes, but of course these Silver Line routes are more like the same routes with 2 different endpoints. There's the SL4 and the SL5, which operate on the street to Nubian Station. What makes these 2 lines different is their last stop headed northbound. The SL4 heads to South Station, whereas the SL5 heads to Downtown Crossing Station. Unlike the SL1, SL2, and SL3, these buses use traditional hybrid buses for their trips. None of that fancy dropping the pole stuff, none of that fancy tunnel running. Instead, they have the normal New Flyer XDE 60s. Also, like I just said, the SL1 through SL3 go into the tunnel, but the SL4 and SL5 do not. All of the stops on the SL4 and the SL5 are within a city block or 2 away from each other. Fireworks. Is that being picked up by the microphone? If you drop the SL labels for these 2 routes and replace it with a regular number, there'll be no difference, and there'll be nothing to make these lines stand out. That said, here's my ranking. The SL1 through SL3 go straight up into the S tier due to their unique operation and the fact that they use these Neoplan dual mode trolleys. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. The SL4 and SL5 go right next to Bus Connections. Because honestly, if you just called this Route 4 and Route 5, there will be nothing of value lost. Everything will still be the same, and it won't feel any different. Yes, I'm fully aware that there's already a Route 4 in the MBTA system. You know what my point is. The Silver Line labels on these routes are just a fancy label and nothing else. They even use the regular bus fare instead of the subway fare, so that should tell you something. Now the red line, that's a doozy. You see, we have 3 different variations of the red line. We have Ashmont to Alewife, we have Braintree to Alewife, and we also have the Ashmont to Mattapan. Now, Ashmont to Mattapan automatically gets placed in the S tier because they use these ancient PCC trolley cars that used to run on the Green Line. But what's more is that they're getting rehabbed yet again. Beautiful. Yes, I know I'm biased, but it's my video and I'll be biased if I want to. Now, what about the other 2 red lines? Well, 2 different red lines are actually more of the same red line as they share a trunk and branch off at the southern end. They're still probably the most diverse lines in the system as they operate 4 different types of equipment. Plus they connect to South Station, where most MBTA and Amtrak commuter rail lines originate. It also takes you to Harvard, and of course the added bonus of taking you to the Mattapan Trolley if you take the Ashmont branch. I will say, let's put the MBTA red line in the B tier, as if it wasn't for the many problems that the newer cars have, I would have put this in the A tier instead. Blue line. Unlike the red line, the blue line is a single line, operating to the airport somewhat and only using one type of train car. These are the Siemens cars built in the late 2000s. Now I'll put the blue line in the C tier despite serving the airport because it's somewhat isolated from the rest of the system. If one wishes to connect to the airport faster, the SL1 and SL3 lines are better options as they not only connect to the red line, but they also go directly to Boston South Station, connecting with Amtrak. But the blue line is still a heavily used line. It's just not for me. Green line. Now here comes some more bias because the Type 8s that run on the Green Line are probably my favorite piece of equipment that the MBTA has. The lines themselves are also kind of interesting. It's like on one end, they operate on a street level, and then in the middle, they operate in a tunnel, and with this new extension, they operate on these elevated sections of track. It's beautiful and it's unique. But with that said, I'll put the E line into the S tier because it's a new extension of the Green Line. And all new extensions are good in my book. I don't even care if they're useless. The D line can go into A tier for being the most scenic route and going through Brookline. If you take FlexBus, you know why that's useful. Now, out of respect for the rest of the lines, let's put their letters into their tiers. So the B line goes into the B tier and the C line goes into the C tier. I wonder why there's no A line. Somebody tell me in the comments. Orange line. Listen, on my last trip to Boston, the Orange Line screwed me over royally. I mean royally. I went to go record the Orange Line and it wasn't running, which is fine, but I went to go catch a shuttle to take me to the Red Line as I was trying to get back to Boston South Station, but there was no shuttle. Instead, I had to walk over to the Red Line at Downtown Crossing Station. The problem is, when I got to Downtown Crossing Station, I couldn't get from one side of the Red Line to the other because the Orange Line platform was closed. The Orange Line, as I say, screwed me over royally. And for that, I'm putting it straight into the F tier. I'm getting my revenge on that line. I hope you're happy, Orange Line. If you didn't screw me, you probably would have gone in the B tier. But no, you screwed me, so you're on the F. Take it, cry about it, seethe, commuter rail. Okay, now we're wrapping things up. You see, I don't really have that much experience with the MBTA commuter rail, so I'll just lump all of my rail experience into the Providence line, which, by the way, that line was amazing. I got into Rhode Island in no time. I mean, I'm confused as to why there's so much diesel power on an electric line, but that's not my system. I can't really explain it. I'm not going to fight them on it. Because of all the diesel I've seen, I'm not going to rank it as highly as the others. I'm going to put it in the C tier. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. Like I said, I don't really have that much experience with Boston's rail system, so I can't really answer that. I will say though that if the situation is mostly because of fuel and Amtrak rules, I will say that New Jersey Transit did it best where they put these dual mode electric and diesel locomotives on their lines, running on electric on the electric sections and diesel in the diesel sections. That'd probably be the better option.
And that's it. That's my tier list of the MBTA back in 2022. Honestly, 90% of my opinion still stands. I mean, the Orange Line is probably ranked a lot higher now, but I'm still salty about that even today. Anyway, shout out to channel members. Thank you everyone for watching this video. We'll be coming back to this next week, and this time we'll be on schedule. We will definitely be on schedule next week. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace out.